The Earth is flat. The moon landing was faked. Birds are actually secret government drones. We've all heard these theories. Maybe you even know somebody who believes them. Maybe you believe them yourself. Thanks to the internet, conspiracy theories have gotten more and more crazy over the years, and people can gather around in their Facebook groups and share evidence with each other to confirm their existing wild beliefs in real time. So let's take a look at some of the wildest conspiracy theories that people actually believe. And who knows, maybe we'll find one or two that aren't that crazy after all. This is the wildest conspiracy theories people actually believe. Or something. I might change the title after. Theory number 1, the Avril Lavigne replacement theory. Some people actually believe that Avril Lavigne, the famous Canadian pop punk star, died in the early 2000s and was secretly replaced by someone named Melissa. You thought the JFK conspiracy was high stakes? Puh. So the theory goes that Avril Lavigne, in the early 2000s, when she became famous and everything, she started using a body double named Melissa to help her deal with the stress of being a famous musician. Like, this Melissa person looked like her and would go to all the paparazzi events and stuff like that, so Avril didn't have to. But then in 2003, Avril Lavigne died and was secretly replaced by the music label with the lookalike Melissa. I know this sounds crazy, but just wait till you see some of the evidence, okay? Look at the difference between these two people. I mean, surely the one on the left is the real Avril, and the one on the right is the fake Melissa person, the body double, right? As the caption says, what could possibly explain the small changes in Avril Lavigne's appearance that took place between 2002 and 2016? I mean, besides the fact that 15 years passed between those photos, and she obviously aged accordingly. You're telling me that people look different when they're 32 compared to when they're 20? Yeah, alright. You keep thinking that, sheep. People point to differences in her appearance all the time as evidence, but that's not all. Fans also say that her handwriting changed. Look at the difference between these two pictures. Clearly, different handwriting, different person. Okay, we can all laugh at this theory, right? The evidence is clearly not enough. But how can you explain this photo shoot that Avril Lavigne did, or should I say Avril Lavigne did, where she has the name Melissa written on her hand? Not so funny anymore, huh? A clear sign of her real identity as Melissa. This isn't Avril. This is Melissa. And how about this? The first album that came out after Avril Lavigne supposedly died was called Under My Skin, alright? And one of the songs had this lyric: I keep asking why, and I can't take it. It wasn't fake. It happened. You passed by, now you're gone. Now you're gone. There you go somewhere. I can't bring you back. Was this the real Avril singing about a heartbreak? Or was it Melissa hinting at the fact that she feels guilt about the loss of her friend Avril and the fact that she has to pretend to be here for the rest of her life? You be the judge. Okay, but in all seriousness, I don't know why any record label would go through all this effort with an intricate body double and everything. Like, if anything, record sales for an artist go up after they die, so they would have made more money if they just said, like, yeah, she's fucking dead. So it wouldn't make sense from a monetary standpoint. And also, if they had the power to do this, like replace people with body doubles, do you not think that they would replace someone more important? Like, no offense, Avril, if that is your real name. As a fellow Canadian and a fan of yours personally, I mean no disrespect, but come on, would they really replace Avril Lavigne but just let Michael Jackson die? Like, or Tupac? Like, all the other much more culturally important musicians? I don't think so. Theory number 2. Finland is not a real country. We have a theory that questions the existence of an entire country. According to a certain group of people, Finland was never real to begin with. The Finland conspiracy says that Finland is not a real country. And I don't just mean like in the literal sense, like it actually is there, but it's not called Finland. Positors of this theory genuinely believe that there is no landmass there at all between Sweden and Russia. It's just an empty ocean. Okay, but that's obviously just a joke, right? Anyone can look at a map or a satellite photo and see that yes, there is land there and it is clearly a Finn land. A land of Finns. Or is there? Think about it. Have you actually met anyone from Finland? I didn't think so. I mean, what do we really even know about Finland, right? It's cold. This theory suggests that Finland was created by Russia and Japan during the Cold War. By creating this fake idea of a country called Finland, they could then go fishing in the Baltic Sea without any competition because all the other countries would think there's a landmass there, so you can't go fishing there. Because as we know, Japan and Russia are famously really great at working together and keeping secrets also. Look, I know you have questions, but there's lots of convincing answers here in this Reddit thread. For instance, what about Finnish people? Are they all in on the conspiracy? No, people from Finland genuinely believe they're from Finland. In reality, they are in small towns on either the eastern part of Sweden, the western part of Russia, or the northern part of Estonia. Ah, okay, yeah, makes sense. He's making some pretty convincing arguments. Why the name Finland? The country was originally made for fishing. What do fish have? Fins. Thus, Finland. Okay, I was trying to defend you, but I think you're losing the plot a little bit. I don't think the Russians and Japanese word for fin is the same thing. This skeptic says, you can see the coast of Tallinn, capital of Estonia, from Helsinki. How do you explain this? No, you can't. That's a great rebuttal. Just can't argue with that. So what do you think? Is Finland real? Or have we all been fooled into believing a country exists that was never really there to begin with? I'll let you decide. Theory number 3. The Titanic never sank. Okay, this one is actually kind of similar to the Avril Lavigne one in a weird way. The theory is that the Titanic never sank because the ship that went down wasn't the RMS Titanic. So the Titanic actually really, in real life, had a sister ship called the Olympic, right? It was owned by the same company, and the Olympic and the Titanic were basically identical. Like, look at these two pictures. But the Titanic was new, and the Olympic was older and damaged. So some people claim that the owners of the Titanic actually sent out the Olympic, not the Titanic, for the voyage across the Atlantic that ended in disaster, and they sunk her on purpose. Why would they do this? Well, to collect the insurance money on the very expensive new RMS Titanic, while in reality, they just sunk the old ship. Yeah, so they killed like 1,500 people as part of an insurance fraud is basically the theory. This theory was first proposed by a guy named Robin Gardner in his book Titanic, the Ship That Never Sank, ? Which kind of sounds like a YouTube title also for like an hour-long video essay. Anyway, he claims that the owners of both ships did this for the insurance money, like I mentioned. But basically, he had no evidence for this, and everyone who's ever engaged with this theory says that it's the stupidest thing ever proposed. For instance, one British historian named Gareth Russell purportedly said that the theory is so painfully ridiculous that one can only lament the thousands of trees which lost their lives to provide the paper on which it has been articulated. Oh my god, that is brutal. He just ended that man's whole career. You thought Eminem buried MGK with his diss track? You thought Kendrick ruined Drake? Nah, you've clearly never heard the Gareth Russell diss against Robin Gardner. He also says that even though the ships were built similarly and looked similar, it would have been basically impossible for them to make the insides look identical, and it just wouldn't have made sense to do all that work either. Like, if they wanted the insurance money from the Titanic, they could have just set the ship on fire while she was docked, instead of boarding thousands of people and their luggage, and then sailing her out into the Atlantic and ramming her into an iceberg. So yeah, I don't personally believe this one, myself. But you be the judge. Okay, this next theory is a really scary kind of one. It's a little bit disturbing, so just be aware. You've been warned. This theory says that 93.5% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. Look, I know. Okay, absolutely horrific, terrifying, right? But here's the thing. You can help. You can make this better, okay? You can make this number less depressing and scary by hitting that subscribe button right now. Okay, no more self-promo, I promise. Back to the actual theories. Theory number 4, the Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Frankenstein theory. It's a long title. This one you might remember from a few years back, okay? In 2019, God, it feels like a lifetime ago. I think COVID really screwed up everyone's sense of time. In 2019, the theory emerged that Chuck E. Cheese takes uneaten pizza from people's tables, reheats it, and then serves it to other customers to save money instead of throwing out the old pieces. Nasty, right? But okay, what's the evidence for this? Well, basically, for some reason, apparently Chuck E. Cheese's pizzas look like this, which, I mean, yeah, they do look pretty uneven, and I would say it's probably just, you know, the depressed teenager who's getting minimum wage, putting in minimum effort to make it look pretty when he cuts the pizzas. But that wouldn't explain why it's like this at all Chuck E. Cheese restaurants. Like, surely there's gotta be one guy who actually puts effort in to make it look even, right? Unless they have a rule that says that employees must reuse pieces of uneaten pizza instead of throwing them out. That would also imply that every single teenager across like hundreds of locations in the US has just managed to keep that secret over the years. But don't think about that too much. I don't know much about Chuck E. Cheese. I know they're all over the US, but we have like 10 of them, I think, in Canada, like the entirety of the country. And I'm not driving 6 hours to the nearest one to test this theory out. And honestly, looking at that pizza, I'm sorry, Americans, but you can keep it. I'm good with sticking to Boston pizza, which, yes, it is Canadian despite the name. But anyway, all I know about Chuck E. Cheese is this theory and the fact that they have dancing animatronics of rats, and their Google reviews are also pretty funny. 5 stars, turkey cheese is always a fun spot for the kids. 3 stars, strange mouse. 5 stars, I love coming to chunky cheese. Chunky cheese is disgusting. Anyway, is this a big conspiracy to save money by reheating the pieces of pizza, and they've just managed to keep that secret throughout the years? Or does Chuck E. Cheese just serve cheap-ass pizza that looks like garbage? You be the judge. Theory number 5, J.K. Rowling doesn't actually exist. Yeah, you know the woman who wrote the Harry Potter books, and everyone loved her, and then now... Well, let's not talk about what she's been up to recently. Anyway, in 2005, a theory emerged that she doesn't actually exist. She didn't write the books. Yeah, this theory was posited by a Norwegian filmmaker named Nina Grunfeld. Yeah, Nina Grunfeld. You don't know her? Come on. You're gonna tell me you've never seen Mens du står utenfor? Or Mellom min mors ben? Those are classics. Anyway, for some reason, this household name of a movie maker came up with a theory that the Harry Potter books were actually written by a team of people. A whole team of writers, not just one person. And they created the fake author J.K. Rowling to make it seem like there was just one writer. I don't know, man. Like, what? Why would they do that? And I guess J.K. Rowling was actually just some industry plant who had nothing to do with the books, but the writers let her get all the fame and wealth instead of them. That makes sense. So this person's quote was, "Is it possible that a person can write 6 thick books that are translated into 55 languages and sell more than 250 million copies in less than 10 years? I mean, yes, it is possible. Just doesn't happen very often, I guess. I mean, at one point, Stephen King was writing books thicker than your head, like at the speed of 1 or 2 a year. But he was also doing a bunch of coke at the time, so that kind of explains it a little bit. Actually, I would be more inclined to believe that J.K. Rowling was also under the influence of some magical white, fairy dust, and that's how she wrote all those books so fast. I would be more inclined to believe that than to think that a whole team of writers worked their ass off for 10 years and then decided, this random British lady can have all the money and credit. That makes no sense. This theory, I don't believe it. Theory number 6, Bill Gates is making fake snow to control the world. Yeah. For some reason, Bill Gates is at the center of a lot of conspiracy theories nowadays. Like, people think that he's secretly trying to control the population in a bunch of different ways, like some kind of mad scientist. They've just turned this guy into like a cartoon mad scientist, like Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He's just a nerd who got rich by accident. That's all. He's not a mad scientist. Like, he created a computer company using his big nerd brain and then became the richest man in the world pretty much overnight. He's not even the richest man in the world anymore. He hasn't been for a long time. He's not even close anymore, right? So I don't know why people believe that he's up to making all these weird experiments and stuff, and he's like the person controlling the whole population. Never mind the fact that he's funded countless humanitarian projects. He's tried to eradicate malaria in Africa by controlling mosquito populations. And also, he spent years warning us before COVID-19 ever happened that there could be a pandemic and, how to prepare for it kind of thing, and how governments should take action against that sort of thing happening. And we were all just like, shut up, you nerd, which ended up great for us. It's a good thing we didn't take his advice. Despite all of that, he's actually in reality some kind of evil genius apparently, and he's controlling the weather by creating fake snow for some reason. In 2021, a bunch of TikTokers across America started spreading the conspiracy that Bill Gates was creating fake snow. And their evidence for this was they would burn snow with a lighter, and instead of it melting, it would turn black. Look at some of the evidence.
Thank you, Bill Gates, for trying to trick us that this is real snow. You'll see, it's not melting.
What the hell?
And it's going to burn. Snow don't burn. Snow melts. No water, no dripping, no nothing. If I put this shit in the microwave, it's gonna start sparking because there's metal mixed in it. So you see that?
No way.
No melting.
Pretty spooky, huh? Well, it turns out that the reason this happens is even scarier than a conspiracy theory. It's something much more sinister. Chemistry. Let's revisit high school science for a second, okay? Or for a lot of these people, it won't be revisiting high school, it'll just be visiting. Anyway, when you hold a lighter to snow, the soot from the flame sticks to the ice, which makes it turn black, okay? And because the heat is so intense, fire hot, the snow sublimates, which means that it goes straight from solid to gas, all right? It skips past the liquid phase, which is why it doesn't drip or melt. like you would expect it to. But that's too many words for these people. No, it's much easier to say that the guy who created the fucking Zune is somehow a mastermind who's controlling the population with fake snow. That makes much more sense. Final theory. Mattress stores are a money laundering scheme. Have you ever noticed that there are too many mattress stores? Like, if you actually think about it, why are there so many mattress stores? Who's buying all these mattresses? I mean, how often do you actually buy a mattress, right? I know there's probably some fact, it's like, oh, you know you're actually supposed to buy a mattress every 5 months? No, nobody does that. You buy a new mattress when you go to change the sheets and you pull them off and you're like, I don't think my mattress was that shade of yellow when I bought it. Maybe I need a new one. Either that or you wake up one morning with a pain in your neck that feels like you slept on a pile of jagged rocks all night. That's when you go and buy a new mattress. And that happens like what? Once every 5 to 10 years for most people? So for an item that people buy like once a decade, there sure are a lot of mattress stores around. How are they staying in business? Well, this theory suggests that mattress stores are actually fronts for money laundering schemes. So criminal organizations are using these mattress stores to pretend they're making clean income, but in reality they're just laundering their dirty money through these stores. I actually kind of buy this one a little bit. Like, I don't think that every mattress store is necessarily a front for money laundering, but I could definitely see it being the case for some of them. So this theory gets my seal of not approval, not disapproval. It's just okay, I guess. I mean, come on, how else do you explain there being 5 mattress stores on the same block and when none of them ever have a single car in the parking lot? It's a little suspicious. Alright, so what have we learned today? We've learned that Finland isn't real, Avril Lavigne is not real, the Titanic sinking wasn't real, and snow might not be real. If you've heard of any conspiracy theories that are even dumber than these ones, drop them in the comments below. I genuinely want to hear what else is out there. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing so you never miss a future upload of mine. My name is Wolfgang, thank you very much for watching. And remember, don't believe everything you hear. Except when I tell you to subscribe, because when I say that, you should believe